Oscar-winning film, Ordinary People. He was directed by the legendary Stanley Kubrick in Full Metal Jacket. Earned his chief credit in Predator 2, Wire, Independence Day, The Patriot. He has done video game voice acting for DCU Online. We all know he has been an actor. You know him from Angel, Firefly, Chuck. You missed it. We did sing the Jane song before you got it.
All right. Well, happy Father's Day, everybody.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm happy to be sharing my Father's Day with you guys. This is my kids are mostly grown. I have a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 14-year-old, so I've had plenty of time to spend with them and lots of fun. So they're sick of me by now anyway. I do get nice texts from them, though. But I'll see you tonight. This is my first time in Philly since, must have been almost 25, 30 years ago. I was here for a charity hockey game. I guess the old Broad Street Brawlers. We had an old timers game against us. Dave Schultz stopped me on my hands. It was great. God, tough. Dave Schultz is tough. For those hockey fans. Yeah. Congratulations to the Boston Bruins. Kept the cup in America. Yes. About that. I had my glory because I'm from Chicago last year, so I'm a Blackhawks fan. Hockey fan. Anyway. So, what was I saying? It's nice to be in Philly. It's been a wonderful convention. It's a great convention hall, and the air conditioning's been working for the most part. Froggy up in the photograph booth, he was a little sweaty yesterday because I guess they turned the air off on the upper level yesterday. So I don't know if any of you have met Froggy.
Yeah. He was wanting to take a shotgun to his head.
All right. So anyway, he was schwitzing. What else do I say? I have nothing really profound to add. I sort of go and wing it if there are questions and stuff. What's going on in the world? I don't sing, I don't dance. I get good hugs. Did you have questions? How do you want to run this?
Well, who has questions? You see that, Mike?
What?
Start lining up.
He's got like this God echo.
This is God.
See, he's got the God.
Make more episodes of Firefly.
Josh? Yeah, that's one thing we miss. Hi.
This is not really about Firefly.
What's your name?
My name is Lauren.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
I follow you on Twitter, and you're like super outspoken about your political beliefs. Is there anyone who you see, and it's very boring, anyone that you see would be a valuable candidate in 2012?
Bruce Campbell.
You don't mind. Like, or what's your favorite episode of Firefly?
Good question. Part A, it's too early to tell. Part B, my favorite episode, I think is Out of Gas. That and, gosh, it's hard. There's so many different layers. I loved Ariel. I loved the pilot, Serenity. It's great. The story behind that pilot, for those of you that don't know, is that it was a 2-hour pilot because Gail Berman, who was one of the producers on Buffy, was an executive at Fox. She had come over and became an executive at Fox, and so she was really Joss's in with the network in the studio there. And for some reason, he got the go-ahead to do a 2-hour pilot, which is always risky. It's hard to hold an audience for 2 hours. And when they delivered the rough cut to the executives, it didn't have the battle sequence on at the head of it. For those of you that haven't seen it, there's a battle sequence that's on that sort of kicks off the pilot episode, but it wasn't attached. And the special effects weren't put in there, so when the executives first saw it, they were, this is slow, and it's 2 hours. So that was why Joss and Tim Minear had to rush in over the weekend and write the train job, because they were not going to pick us up at all. So that was kind of why, that was the beginnings of why Firefly sort of got lost in the maelstrom of where does it get programmed? Does it get Wednesday night? Because there was John Doe, there was Fastlane, and there was Firefly with the new 3 big shows for Fox that year. John Doe delivered a great pilot, as did McGee's directed Fastlane. And so they got the plum spots. They got the Friday nights at 8 and 9. I mean, well, they got Wednesday at 8 and 9. And we ended up Friday because they weren't sure where to put us, because they had this long episode. So we got kind of caught behind the 8 ball. But I think Serenity is a terrific episode if you watch it now. The finished product, I don't even think the executives ended up seeing the finished product. They saw the rough cut, horses in space.
Thank you.
Thanks. And a girl in a box.
Hi. I also love Firefly and June Independence Day. But I think my favorite thing that you've done is probably Superman Doomsday. Now, I have some issues with the full product itself, but I think your voice work is just astounding in it. I just want to know how you approached the whole clone part of it, because I thought that was the best thing. As Superman clone.
Yeah, it was difficult to portray that guy just with the voice, because he has to be such a straight shooter. And there were some stumbling blocks in the studio with the directors and the producers. Just, where's his edge? Well, he doesn't really have an edge. He's just play him straightforward and see where it goes. So I don't have too much invested in that, other than he was, this truth, justice, and the American way. That's another thing, I kept fighting with him about, so what happened to the American way part? It's, we're sort of moving into a more international stuff. Really? Okay. Can I do a couple of takes just saying it anyway? Oh yeah, sure. But I think that there wasn't much differentiation, except in tonality. The clone evil guy got a little darker, and very straight shooter was a very straight shooter.
I thought that was just the eeriest thing with the clone. Just
Yeah.
every line you delivered as the clone was just creepy.
Oh, I do creepy. I can do creepy. Thank you. Thanks.
Adam was in the army today. Like yesterday, got your photo ops. You the man, dude.
Thank you, sir.
You the man.
Thank you.
I've been a fan.
What's your name?
My name is James.
James.
I'm from Philadelphia now.
Right on.
I just want to say, like I said, I've been a fan of you for years. I wish you had a stronger part in Independence Day.
Yeah.
Because you're the man. You're the man. You took the first shot at that alien. That was you, brother. Yeah. And you walked over and took that. Yeah. But I just wanted to ask, are you going to participate in any strong upcoming sci-fi movies? And I think you're one hell of a tall dude. I think you make one hell of an awesome looking zombie. Did that ever pop in your head somewhere?
I would love to play a zombie. I did a crappy vampire movie called The Thirst, for those of you that saw it. Sorry.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. You can skip it. There's a couple others you can skip too, but we won't go there. Yeah, I love to play a zombie. Independence Day was, my buddy directed it, Dean Devlin. His father produced My Bodyguard, Don Devlin. He's the late, great Don Devlin. And Dean and I met when I went to audition for My Bodyguard. And he was an actor at the time and a writer, and he had done some acting, but he transitioned into the producing end like his father did, because there's more money. He went to that. But he gave me that part in Independence Independence Day, and it was really just a secondary role. So the portion where I go and I deliver the coup de grace to the alien was my idea, because I thought, so on the set we were shooting it, and we got a little behind, and they said, well, we got to move on. I said, please, Dean, can we just at least shoot in second unit? And he said, yeah, go shoot in second unit. So the guy, Peter Winter, who is now one of his higher-ups at Electric Entertainment, he basically directed that sequence and made it into the film. So I was glad, because you want to go and make sure that that alien is dead. That's something major that you do. So let me do it. Okay, go shoot that.
Thank you very much.
So I appreciate it.
How you doing?
Good, sir. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris.
I just want to say, probably gonna hear this about 1,000 times as you did before, but I love the work you've done. Every time I see you, whether it's in a movie or whether I see you in a game or in a cartoon, you've always got such a presence about you. And even though I love Mass Effect 2, you were probably one of the, as brief as your role was in that game, it was probably one of my favorite performances in the game. And I was just wondering, how does preparing for a role in, say, a game or a cartoon compare to or contrast to getting ready for a role in a live-action movie or show?
You can do a game in your pajamas. You can show up. You don't have to shave. Doesn't matter. The game work is the script is very compartmentalized because there are different scenarios and cues, and a lot of the times you're doing it, you don't have the lead-in line. So the context, that's the biggest stumbling block when you're doing a game, is to figure out what the context of it is, because you don't have a visual of what the action is going to be. So there's a lot of give and take between the actor and the director saying, okay, what's happening in this scene? Am I yelling? Am I not yelling? What's the distance I'm yelling? You do that a lot in cartoon work too, because you don't get to see the storyboard. Film, you can pretty much visualize it because it's this running narrative of context that you can then play. Happy Father's Day. One of the most beautiful babies I've ever seen. So happy too. And a regular show, you like you say, you have the whole context, and you usually get a read through, and you get time to prepare. Unless you're doing a guest spot on a TV show where they just send you the script. And, okay, you're doing a one-off, you're doing a 4-episode arc. Here's your guy, go. Show up and do it right, because we're going to give you short shrift if you're a guest actor on a show. So, because they really want to serve the lead characters, the regulars. And so I feel for visiting guest actors on our show, and the crew. It's especially important to make sure that the crew gives them the respect that they deserve, because a lot of times the crew will just run over them because it's just a guest actor. I find myself saying quiet, please, for the guest actors. Did I answer your question? I like to go on tangents and see where it goes.
I ramble all the time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Audrey. I just saw Done the Impossible for the first time. Thank you for that. I really like you get us brown coats.
Thank you.
That's nice. My question is, for me, a big part of the appeal of Firefly was the music. I think Greg Edmondson did an amazing job of just setting the mood for each scene. And I'm curious why he didn't score the Serenity film. Do you know?
I think that was just a studio decision. There were some people that didn't get brought on to the film that were on the series that Joss fought for, but it was really a take it or leave it situation. The studio wanted to be, they had their universal contracts as opposed to above my pay grade, basically.
Okay. Thank you.
You're gonna have to forgive me. I'm a little starstruck right now.
What's your name?
Danny.
Danny. Where are you from?
Just really great, and I wanted to.
I didn't hear you. Where are you from?
I'm stationed in Fort Lee, Virginia right now, and I'm originally from Tampa. So sorry.
said, starstruck.
Oh.
But first off, I just want to say thank you because you and the crew of Serenity have helped me through some really crappy deployments, especially being how I do the most unwanted job in the military. It's mortuary affairs.
Oh, goodness.
So.
Did you see Taking Chance?
Yes, yes. In fact, for our job, that is a very heralded movie. It's like we watch that, and as within the military movie, we kind of sit back and it's like we look at the audience.
Great timing, by the way. I'm sorry. Go back.
Yeah, we check out the authenticity of the movie. It's like hey, wait a minute, we don't do that. We do that. So yeah.
For those of you that haven't seen Taking Chance or know what he's talking about, Taking Chance is a beautiful movie starring Kevin Bacon, who is the honor guard.
We played 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon between you and Kevin Bacon.
I like tangents, but not that. He's an honor guard, basically shepherding the castle.
He plays a lieutenant colonel that is kind of like stuck in the middle of his career, and he gets picked as usual when sending soldiers and Marines and sailors home from Dover. They just pick at random somebody that comes up on the roster, and he gets picked, and he's kind of melancholy and kind of stuck in his career, and he's just trying to find what it's all about again. And he gets picked to take this Marine home, and it shows him from getting briefed at Dover to delivering him to the airport, and through this, he actually finds meaning in what he's doing again.
And this is what you do?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, we're in theater.
Okay.
From place of death, we actually are responsible for safeguarding and inventorying of items, and we don't do anything forensic in theater because we're trying to expedite back to Dover as quickly as possible. So.
Well, great. Thank you for your service.
Great, I love the movie, but I wanted to ask you about one of the sexiest ladies on the show that you've ever worked with, Vera.
Yeah, maybe you can explain to me what a full-bore auto-lock thorough gauge is. Being a military expert. I don't know. That sounds good. It sounds sciencey and military.
So they just handed you the line and said, here. It's like also along with, the question basically is, it's like, did they just hand you, it's like, okay, here's the script, here's the weapon, go. And also with your LeMat that you carry, your sidearm on the shirt that you carry, did you have any choice in this, or did you pick it, or they're like?
No, there was a little choice with the sidearm. It just looked cool. It's not really high functioning. It's a revolver, but it looked cool. The Vera that Callahan brought, whatever the hell that thing is.
It's basically an AK-47.
It's a cannibalized AK-47 with different chunky parts put on. And it had been used in some other show.
It was in a movie.
Was it Men in Black? It might have been.
No, it wasn't Men in Black. It was the one where Martin Lawrence and Steve Zahn play security guards. Thank you.
What's it called?
National Security.
Yeah, so they borrowed it for that, and I think they added a couple of little pieces and parts. But it's a clunky weapon. It's got sharp corners, and it's real front heavy. It's very poorly balanced. So I thought, well, I should keep it as a collector's item, but they wanted 10 grand for it. So
I know Nathan got to keep, or I don't know if he got to keep, but I think he
got it anyway.
There's a photo of him, and it's his holster and everything, sitting off to the side. But it was like, granted, Vera looks weird, along with the other ladies on the show. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to ask you about that. How much?
Marina's prettier. That's my personal opinion.
See, I just remember from the bonus features, it was like River. She's doing that. But thank you very much.
Appreciate it, couple.
I wanted to ask you about Independence
Independence Day, and you did some work there with a local product who had a small part in it by the name of Will Smith. And I was wondering, if you had any